While Notre Dame does not play the toughest schedule in college football, it's close. They don't play the toughest schedule in college football, but they play the most difficult schedule to analyze. So if you start and you look at schedules across the board in the Power Five, of course, you've got silos within the Big 12, the Big 10, and all the other conferences. So each conference is easy to compare for the most part, especially the Big 12 is cut and dry. You play everyone, so every team in the conference plays itself. Once you get to the Pac-12, it's a little bit more difficult, but they play 9 of 11 opponents. In the SEC and the ACC, it's the most difficult because those teams only play 8 of 14 teams in the conference, so they miss 5 opponents, but at least there's a base to go from. In the Big Ten, it's a little bit more easy this year than it has been in the past because they've upped their conference schedule to 9 games. We've got a 9-step process. Check out the first video to understand our method. With Notre Dame, it's difficult because I had to line up this schedule, take out the conference factors because they don't play a like schedule to anyone in college football. They do play 5 games in the ACC, so I started there. I could start to compare Notre Dame's schedule against some teams in the ACC. Obviously, they're out of conference, meaning non-ACC games really bulk up and beef up the schedule. Notre Dame has the 10th most difficult schedule in college football. It starts at Texas. The Longhorns, not great, not what they used to be, not 2009, but still a quality team, quality program, should finish in the top 40 in the country. Game at Nevada, game at Michigan State. That's extremely difficult. 3 consecutive ACC games for Notre Dame, not the best teams in the conference, but some decent teams in Duke, not so much Syracuse, North Carolina State. Then they're back to a Pac-12 game in taking on Stanford, most likely the best team in the Pac-12, certainly along with Washington and USC and possibly Oregon. Then Notre Dame has to take on Miami, so it's another ACC game. Then it's the Navy, Army, military games. Then they finish up against Virginia Tech with another ACC date and USC. So if you look at the ACC games, no Florida State, no Clemson like they had last year. They also only take on one of the weaklings in Syracuse. There's no Virginia like there was in 2015. There's no Boston College or Wake Forest as there was last season. They take on the mid-pack of the ACC. Miami may elevate this year under Mark Richt, but generally it's the middle of the road against the ACC when you look at North Carolina State, Virginia Tech, and Duke, 3 teams that you would rank in that top 40 to 45 range in all of college football. Outside, of course, we note the Texas game against the Big 12. Notre Dame also has to deal with Stanford and USC, possibly the 2 best teams in the Pac-12. Michigan State may be the best team in the Big 10, certainly in the top 3 as it stands right now. So this is a difficult schedule. Even the lesser teams like a Navy is a quality team out of the American Athletic Conference that should win 7 or 8 games and get to postseason play again. There are no light touches here. So you've got no Kansas, no Purdue, and no out-of-conference games against MAC schools or FCS schools, Sun Belt schools. Nothing like that for Notre Dame. So it's a consistently difficult schedule. Maybe they don't play Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, those teams. So they don't have any real standout games other than possibly Michigan State, possibly USC. We'll see how the Trojans fare. But it's a consistently, more so than anybody in college football, consistently difficult schedule, top to bottom. No 50-0 games here. Notre Dame, the 10th most difficult schedule in all of college football and the most difficult to rate. Need to hear from you now on Mark Rogers TV.